Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, Takeaways from the Gartner Magic Quadrant for Insight Engines, How AI-Powered Search Can Impact Your Business. My name is Samantha Williams and I'm going to be your host. I work on the marketing team here at Kaleo and I'm really excited to be part of this session today. I'm pleased to introduce today's speaker. Laurent Simoneau is co-founder, president, and CTO of Kaleo, and is considered one of the industry's top intelligent search experts. Today, he's going to analyze the evolution of the enterprise search technology into insight engines as defined by the leading analyst firm Gartner, and what's the impact for businesses today. I have a couple of housekeeping items to quickly cover before we get started. So first, everyone's in listen-only mode. However, we would love to hear from you during today's presentation. We'll be answering the questions after Laurent speaks, so please feel free to send those questions along using the question or chat section on your screen. So today's webinar is being recorded and you'll receive the presentation within 24 hours at the conclusion of the event. For those of you just joining us, welcome to today's webinar, Takeaways from the Gartner Magic Quadrant for Insight Engines, How AI-Powered Search Can Impact Your Business. Laurent, I'm going to hand it over to you to start us off.
Thank you, Samantha, and good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. So following the recent publishing of the Gartner Magic Quadrant, we thought it would be valuable to offer a perspective about what is now called the Insight Engines market. So the Insight Engines, as defined by Gartner, it's really about relevance and proactivity versus the old enterprise search market that was really about search. So the Gartner definition to the left suggests that information is delivered either in interactive, so classic search, or proactive, more on the recommendation side, we using what I would describe as advanced relevance techniques. So how have we moved from enterprise search to insight engines? And it's really an evolution of what we've known for a long time as the enterprise search market, where the search box was the key component to any user interface. If you think about it, the search box was really the central piece of any kind of search-powered application. We like to say that search is now a commodity, but relevance is really what matters. So if you look on the right, the insight engines really targets or leverage more relevance than classic search. Relevance means that people are making, we think that relevance makes people proficient, while search made people efficient. Means that you can be more pertinent with relevance. You can apply that to cases, accounts, employees, customers, shipments, and so on. So when you think about it, what is relevance? How would you define relevance? What are the key ingredients of relevance? We believe that relevance comes from those three main variables. Number one is content. So content, this is the raw material that is returned by any advanced search engine. An insight engine must have access to the original content securely. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. The context is about who's doing the query, who's interacting with the information. What is this person doing? What is the context that he's in? It obviously affects tremendously the results. If you're on an e-commerce portal versus a support portal versus an intranet, going after the same information should not return the same results, obviously. And the behavior part is really about the machine learning. It's really a machine learning section. It's how can you derive from the previous visits or experiences, how can you derive from that the best content to recommend to this specific user that is on that is on the website that is interacting with the system. So we believe that those three variables are critical to a relevant insight engine, and we will discuss shortly how we've put this in production in the real world for real customers. So we like to say that digital experiences rely on rich and relevant information and recommendation. Personal digital experiences are powered by search analytics and machine learning, as we said earlier. Machine learning is really a key ingredient of that success, and it really transforms relevance for all of those implementations and all of those projects. Machine learning is really the backbone of those personal experiences, in our opinion. So when you look at, so again, going from the efficiency and the proficiency, so self-service search reduces cost, but self-service proficiency really enhances all processes and outcomes, as we said a little bit earlier. Buyers can buy more and better, customers are smarter about using the products that include this kind of technology. Partners and dealers are more efficient. Employees can handle more complex tasks. So again, we'll show you a little bit more of that in a few minutes. So these are specific areas where relevance play a big role for us. We will highlight a little bit more of that in the future, but at a high level, we look at these use cases as area where we can bring a lot of value. Those use cases are categorized into big buckets. So one of them is, the first one on the left is what we call external facing intelligent engagement. So think about website engagement, where the users are either your customers, your visitors on your websites, your customers want to buy or want to have support. So you can embed this kind of technology into customer communities, e-commerce portal, partner and dealer portal, customer self-service. And on the other side, on the right side, it's really about your employees. So it's internal facing. We call that intelligent workplaces. So we will see applications like CRM, where support agents will get more productive and efficient solving cases. Salespeople will have the ability to gather all of the internal content, helping them make a better call. Employee portals will connect to the HR system. Intranet and KB, it will be for classic collaboration across the enterprise. So we categorize really those use cases on both external facing and internal facing. There's a lot of value at having one single index to power those two big groups and have machine learning adapting to those two different contexts. So how is this made available through the Kaleo platform? So this is a slide where we still have the content plus context plus behavior equation that equals relevance at the bottom. But from a product perspective, how does it look like? So from on the content side, Kaleo provides a wide array of connectors to go securely across all of the data sources that may be appropriate to search on. So you'll see logos like Google Drive, Gmail, Jira, Dropbox, Salesforce.com, Office 365. We have more than 50 different connectors that we build and maintain natively, and we do document level security on those connectors. So when we search, we don't have access to content that we would not have access otherwise. On the context side, it's really about gathering all of the signals, all of the contextual variables that are available when a user does a search. So we have native integration inside Salesforce, inside Sitecore, inside Microsoft Dynamics. And we use those, we use this context really to affect relevance. We finally, on the behavior side, usage analytics is where we store all of the behavioral data. Each and every user interaction gets captured into this data store that is highly secured. And not only it's used to manage, to understand relevance and understand from a how could we improve relevance and so on, but all of this information is the raw material for machine learning, and that's the fourth step, the machine learning that allows us to derive previous experiences and previous user journeys to provide better relevance. Let's see how it works in the real world. So this is an example of an intelligent, what we call an intelligent intranet, where of course you will see the search box and the facets to the left and the results coming from various data sources. It's a unified list, and there's a lot of metadata that is available to make the experience richer and better. But on the right, you will also see that we're suggesting other people to contact. So I'm searching for noise canceling, or are my experts inside the organization that I should connect to, that I should look at their information that is available. And what is interesting here is that this information comes from multiple data sources. So it doesn't have to all be stored in one single repository. We kind of derive the people information from all of those data sources in those formats and put it in a unified fashion here on this slide. Let's see another example here. So we're looking at Enbridge. This is a very large delivery company based in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It deals with pipelines, crude oil, natural gas, and so on. It's one of the largest in North America, and they have more than 11,000 employees. So what they wanted to do is have a website that would be dynamic, that would be search-driven, that could be targeted by persona, behavior, geography, and more. There was a challenge of having some personalization and contextual content delivery at scale. So what they built with the help of a partner in Kaleo on top of the Sitecore platform, what they built is really a website that is search-driven, where each and every tiles that you see on the screen right now are basically Kaleo results. So they use the Kaleo engine to either respond to formal search queries or to derive a context and suggest results right away. And then what Enbridge did with the help of their partner was to build a user interface layer on top of the results that would have this rich representations of the results through tiles. So see, I'm looking at pipeline information here. There's more of a learn more in the middle, more of a conversation, and classic documentation in the middle. So we think that's one good example of going way beyond the classic enterprise search model here. Another good example that we have is Honeywell. So most of you know Honeywell as a global manufacturer. It sells both consumer and business products. It's got hundreds of product lines, so it's a very big company. What we've done for them here is using Kaleo to power their home products section on the Honeywell website. So here what you see in the top right corner is a search box, a Kaleo search box that has intelligent query suggest. It will have rich product recommendations directly in the search box. But it also will have the related content, so resources at the bottom of the query suggest box. And if you decide to go full page, there's a rich search result page with advanced facets to the left and rich result templates that will be more classic from an e-commerce perspective. Those two user interfaces obviously send signals to our usage analytics, and then we can refine through machine learning the experience of a new user based on what others have found relevant and what others have bought, for example. So if we change context here, another of our large customer is Salesforce. Salesforce.com uses Coveo in many ways. I want to highlight here what they have done with Coveo on the customer service side. So Coveo powers the help and training portal, the public help and training portal at Salesforce, and it also powers an agent productivity console directly within Salesforce for their customer service agent. So if you look at the business stats here, it's pretty amazing the value that we've been able to create. So 30% self-service success after 24 months of Coveo, 2-day reduction in caseage and 26% increase in tenured agents on the productivity side, 2x increase in visitors of the self-service website for case deflection while having case volume remain flat. So this has huge business value, obviously. So let's see a little bit more what has been accomplished with on the Salesforce portal. So this is the help and training portal. This is the public version of it. If you're a Salesforce customer, you can go there and use Coveo to find solutions to either problems, online documentations, and so on. And there are millions and millions of queries each and every week on this portal. So the first thing that we've added here is what we call intelligent query suggest. So we help people complete their query while they're typing, but there's machine learning in the back that suggests the best queries based on the outcome of those queries. So we're going to suggest queries that match what you're typing, but will give an extra boost to queries that have a higher value of case deflection. That's a successful outcome for Salesforce. If we go on the full search page here, we will see. I want to highlight a few interesting areas. So I'm searching for collaborative forecasting. So on the left, I will have the classic search facets from Coveo, but look at the topic facets. It's hierarchical. So if you have a hierarchy of metadata, for example, then you can leverage that easily with Coveo. In the middle, we have embedded a video player. So sometimes the content may be in various formats. Video is more and more often seen in those kind of portals. So fairly easily, they have added videos into the result templates. But on the top right, this is what we call intelligent recommendation. So the way we translate that is using machine learning, we are going to highlight content that have been very useful for visitors like me in the past in order to have a successful outcome. In this example, it's about case deflection. So Salesforce is suggesting recommended learnings powered by Coveo, understanding that this, first of all, this is relevant. People will click on that based on our previous experience with machine learning. But in addition, some of those learnings can be free, but others can be sold. So there's an e-commerce flavor to this one too. And those recommendations are not linked directly to the search box. They are linked to my user journey. They are linked to my visit. They are linked to the content that I'm looking at. And in this second example here, I'm showing related resources and recommended learnings that are really tied to my visit and to the content that I'm looking for right now. So this is a very powerful example in our opinion. Next example I want to show is Logitech. Most of you, I'm sure, are familiar with Logitech and their great products. So Logitech, in this example, it's a great demonstration on how machine learning can substantially improve relevance and have an impact on business metrics. In this example, again, it's case deflection. So what I'm going to show here is the before and after machine learning. So it's on the left side, it's standard search, and on the right side, it's really search with machine learning. The first example is pretty obvious, right? You're looking for queries like mouse. How can you rank that with a classic search algorithm? With machine learning, we're going to push the products that are the most popular on this given day. What is a little bit harder to do is you search for a keyboard that this product name may or may not exist in Logitech's inventory. So when you use machine learning, it will understand that you're typing MX5500, but you really mean MX trademark space 5500, and that's what is going to be pushed automatically to the user. You can still fix that by configuration and by investing into a thesaurus and so on. This one is more interesting because you don't know that it exists. You don't know how to respond to this query because there's nothing in your inventory that looks like this query actually. So machine learning, by analyzing all of the search journeys, all of the visitor journeys, they found out that COAI59 is a label that is on the USB receiver for the mouse on the right. So some people are looking for the mouse on the right by searching on the label that is on the USB receiver. At the start, they fail. So they either find this mouse manually, or they search for V220, or they use all sorts of ways to get to the result. Machine learning will capture that and make the link between COAI59 and this mouse after a while. So this is machine learning to the right. Is really a way to substantially improve the performance of websites, either from an e-commerce perspective or a support portal perspective. So let's look at another example here. This is a little bit different. This is one of our greatest manufacturing companies in Canada. It's BRP, Bombardier Recreational Products. They build snowmobiles, so ski-doos, sea-doos. They build all sorts of other cool vehicles that are not designed for the highway. So what they wanted us to do, they have dealerships all across the world, in Russia, in the US, in Europe, where they sell all of those vehicles, but these are complex piece of equipment. And when there's a problem, an issue, or questions from the customers, they wanted their dealers to be more self-sufficient. They want them basically be able to have access to a self-service knowledge base that may be quite complex. So what we built with them is really this self-service dealer portal, where on the left side you will see a classic search page on a classic virtual knowledge base that includes multiple data sources. So there's Relevance in there that is, again, is powered by machine learning. It's got all sorts of metadata to allow people to have great experience. But on the right, there's also a connection to the vehicle information through their VIN number. So Coveo searches both the knowledge base and the structured content and connects both together. So the VIN information will provide context also for the knowledge base information. So again, this allows the entire dealership network to be connected all together at the same time on the same information, the same knowledge base globally. Another amazing example that I want to show here is Adobe. So Coveo powers the self-service communities and contact center, both for their customer service agent, but also for Adobe's users on their website. And what they wanted to accomplish here is really increase the ability of their customers and users to have a better self-service experience when they want to have training information, when they are looking for how-tos, how to accomplish multiple tasks in their multiple products. And the way that Adobe measures the performance of Coveo is this way, right? So how many no results queries are eliminated? So it is increased by 3x. They're measuring what they call the click-through rate, which is pretty obvious. So people, when they do a search, are they looking at the information or moving on? And there's also a huge increase in their own internal usage from their support engineers. What has been implemented in Adobe recently is something quite exciting from a machine learning perspective. Adobe has multiple products, as we all know: Photoshop, Illustrator, PDF, and so on. So when you're looking for a generic query like, let's say, I'm looking for crop. I want to know how to crop. People will get results coming from all of those products. And even with classic machine learning, everything that you will see here is that, well, people tend to crop more often in PDF than into Photoshop. But if there's no context, it's hard to personalize results. On the flip side, the challenge here is classic machine learning involves creating models with all of the signals that have been captured. And for every combination of context, so for example, I have a portal in Germany for Photoshop users. I have information for my support agents that have access to more information and so on. You need to create manually multiple models to support all of those use cases. What we've been able to do is add contextual data on the fly to our machine learning models. So in this example here, I'm on a generic website. I'm looking for this generic query crop, and I get results from everywhere. If I'm a Photoshop user, and this information is passed from either my profile if I'm logged in, or I'm coming from the Photoshop section, we are going to send this context to machine learning. So machine learning will return the best results for a Photoshop user. It is not going to exclude results outside of Photoshop. It will just give an obvious extra boost for results that are more popular for Photoshop users. So this is a real example here. So you see that the first 3 results are really targeted towards Photoshop, but the fourth one is about Illustrator. So what it means is that folks who are looking to crop photos in Photoshop, some of them are also interested in cropping images in Illustrator. And that's the beauty of machine learning. So it always improves, it always adjusts based on the experience, based on previous visits, based on what people are doing with the system. So this works at scale, obviously. But this is for an audience on the website, but what about, and that was a request from Adobe, what about making this experience available directly where their users and customers do work? So what about adding this experience that you just saw natively into Photoshop? So for those of you who are Photoshop users, you will appreciate this. If you open Photoshop and you start a search, you start the search box here. The results here, this is a native box directly inside Photoshop, but you will see that the results here are powered, basically are powered by Kaleo. And it's the same inside engine, is the same index that is cloud-based, obviously, but those Photoshop users are connecting to this centralized index. And they are benefiting from all of the machine learning also that's been built from the experience on the cloud side. So again, you see Kaleo in a different layout, in a different user interface, with various data sources directly integrated into Photoshop. So we think it's an amazing example of how you can have one single index that can be leveraged into multiple experiences, multiple UIs, and multiple contexts. All right, so let's look at some of the key components of the platform under the hood. So how is this managed? How is this managed, and then how do you extend the platform to other use cases? This is one example of the dashboards that can be built on top of our Usage Analytics platform. So Usage Analytics, as I said earlier, is a cloud service that captures all of the signals, all of the events that happens between a user and Kaleo. So all of the queries, all of the clicks, all of the facets, all of the open pages. It also includes some custom events. So for instance, you may want to log into this a buy signal or a case deflection signal or a registration signal that may happen on your website. And so when I discussed earlier about successful outcomes, how do we define successful outcomes? The data is stored in this system. Now, what you see here is a view on top of this data that allows us to see, well, some dashboards that some of them come out of the box and some of them can be created by either a professional services team or our own customers are able to create those dashboards. So you will see a few examples here. So what is the activity over time on the top left? What is the click-through percentage over time? Click rank over time, and then some relevance highlights here or insights here. What are the queries with low relevance? What are queries with no results? What are the results to boost? We can identify content gaps here for specific audiences. So the next example here, we have created additional dashboards, but we're splitting them by different audiences. So for example, employees, customers, and partners we would see different trends, we would see different queries, different segmentation. So it's very important to have tools to measure multiple audiences and understand the performance of all of the tuning and the machine learning that we've put in place. And the next slide here is more about what's under the hood in terms of what we capture. So in this example, what we're showing here is basically a search journey or user journey. So what is a user journey? It may start with a query, then a document quick view, then a case creation, and then there's a lot of metadata that is captured into our usage analytics. Again, this is the raw material to create our machine learning models. So talking about machine learning, how do we configure machine learning? We want normal human beings to be able to create models, what we call models. So in this user interface here, an administrator or a knowledge administrator would create a new model with the add model click and say, okay, what amount of data do I want to process here coming from our machine learning, from our usage analytics? What is the frequency of the refresh? What is the impact on the relevance that I want to put in place? I'd like to put some filters here. I'd like to have separate models for regions, for example, or any metadata that do make sense. I'd like to create a model for successful outcomes, for instance. So just give me recommendations from a model that was based on visits that ended well, for instance. So it's fairly easy to do that. And typically our customers are doing that themselves, sometimes with the help of our professional services team, but they're able to fine-tune that themselves. We also have classic relevance tuning. So this is an example where we're adding thesaurus rules. So again, all added into what we call a query pipeline. This is a relevance profile, if I can call it this way, that you can attach to specific audiences. So you could create a list of thesaurus for a specific audience, another thesaurus for other audiences, and so on. So in this example, I'm just adding a thesaurus entry. We have also the ability to boost results and promote specific results based on conditions. So this is another example here where you can configure advanced condition based on contextual information or based on other metadata that is available. All of this, by the way, is available through APIs. So our partners, our system integrators and developers have a lot of flexibility to build those relevance models themselves and integrate them into their own workflow. So this is another example of a ranking expression that is a little bit more complex. So you want to boost some results, you want to remove some results, and so on. This is all possible, and this is all available. Again, classic ranking weights here that are available if you want to remove the weight of the title or the dates or so on. It's fairly easy to do. There's also ways to create triggers. Sorry, there's also ways to create triggers. Sorry, where based on specific events, we would like to send an email or to redirect the search page to somewhere else. So this is becoming an advanced workflow mechanism to really drive the experience from the search box. Now, all of this is great, but you need to measure it. So we have the ability to compare two pipelines, two query pipelines together into A/B testing. So send 70% of the traffic on pipeline A and 30% on pipeline B, and then we can compare that into the usage analytics dashboard and validate that some of the assumptions on the relevance tuning on machine learning are really performing as expected. Now moving on, this is on the user interface side. So we have a JavaScript UI framework that is open source This is available on GitHub. So again, for system integrators and developers friend, this is a way to leverage the Kaleo APIs into some pretty flexible UI user interface framework and build your own interface and your own integration. But there's also tools to build through drag and drops and components those user interfaces. What we've seen is on the right side, the UI builder is very efficient for customers and system integrators who want to build prototypes of what they would like to accomplish. And also what is quite powerful is that this has been integrated, part of this has been integrated into our native products for Kaleo for Salesforce and Sitecore. So how do we add content inside Kaleo? So we have the ability to in one click from our cloud interface to configure third-party data sources very easily. In a few clicks, entering sometimes just connecting with the data source, we will index content from those data sources. Now, there's also a push API and that allows third parties, again, developers and system integrators, to build their own connectivity to Kaleo. So there are some homegrown systems, there are some homegrown databases that may require additional work. So there's all of those APIs are available for a third party to inject content inside Kaleo. What I want to finish with is this. This is fairly new. We believe it's also very important. The question is, how can we leverage other services out there that are designed to accomplish specific tasks? So how can we leverage those third-party services to inject additional intelligence in our index, to make our index smarter, to make our index better? And of course, in 2017, with this world of interoperability, it's quite important to leverage what's out there and not replicate it. So these are some examples that we have that we've tested and put in place for either customers or partners. In our indexing pipeline, we have what we call indexing pipeline extensions that can be either invoked through APIs or directly in our administration tool. So for example, you want to have a translated version of a document before it's indexed. We can call Google Translate API in a pretty transparent fashion. So we will have both version, the original document and translated document directly in the index and searchable at the same time. We have the ability to leverage AWS recognition as another example, which is a deep learning service, and we are using that for image recognition. We have been able to leverage Meeting Cloud for advanced text analytics. There are projects using IBM Alchemy. We are looking also to use Salesforce Einstein for other use cases. So we live in this world of interoperability, and it's quite important to have a seamless way to leverage all of this power outside of Kaleo. So as an example, we have an example where we had a lot of images, a lot of content that had a lot of images that were difficult to tag. There was no metadata associated to it. So we created a quick pipeline extension, pushed that to AWS recognition. Using deep learning and image recognition, we were able to tag all of those images in a very short amount of time. So if you look in the facet to the left, this is the metadata that the deep learning returns. So I'm looking for airplanes, but then I just want to filter on the helicopters, and you will see helicopter images here that have been added but tagged by this external service. And what is also quite interesting is the ability, as the Photoshop example before, Coveo can be embedded fairly easily into third-party apps in a seamless fashion, in a way, through APIs and so on. So for those who are familiar with this is Slack. Slack is a corporate message system where you can create some sort of chatbots integration, in a way, to Slack. So using the same index, what we've done here is an integration with chat where we can ask question to Slack, to the Slack bot, and the Slack bot will return responses. So we are asking in natural language, find an image with helicopter, and here are the results that are basically the same results than in the previous example, but directly embedded into my messaging system, into Slack, using natural queries. So in our view, this is a great example of how to extend Coveo both on the indexing side, enrich the index through external service, and leverage Coveo where the users are, put Coveo into the context of the users and context of the work. And maybe as a last slide before the Q&A, I invite you to get the Gartner 2017 Magic Quadrant for Insight Engines. You can get your copy at coveo.com. We are quite proud of our positioning this year in a very competitive market. We are happy to make a copy available for you on our website. And if you want to dig a little bit deeper and get a demo of our AI-powered search, our experts are available. Just contact us at info@coveo.com, and we'll be happy to plan a conversation and a demo with you to go a little bit further on those use cases. So with that, I think we can open up for questions.
We can. We did have some questions. Thank you so much, Laurent. So I will start with one that came in. It says, I get some pushback from clients about moving to the cloud because of concerns about security. What would you say to address these concerns about security and compliance?
So that's a great question, because actually our belief is that the cloud is substantially more secure than most on-premises environments. So our cloud is highly, we've put a lot of compliance in our cloud. So SOC compliance, we also have a HIPAA cloud that is designed to capture and to store medical information. And our customers are actually, when they have the choice now, most of them will go to the cloud because again, it's more compliance. Our index is encrypted at rest. We have multiple processes to make sure that it's always highly secure and up to date. So great question, but we feel very good about our cloud strategy versus security and compliance.
And another one that came in was, do you have pre-built integration to other applications?
Absolutely. So we have native integration at the user interface level and also the connectivity level. So if you want to use Coveo for Salesforce, you go on the Salesforce App Exchange and you will find our native integration there. Same thing for Sitecore. And now we also have a native integration on the Microsoft App Source for Microsoft Dynamics CRM. So those are native integrations that are fully supported by Coveo, that are actual Coveo products. And we are also supporting third parties, other developers that are building their own using the Kaleo APIs.
Do I have to use our own, or do I have to use your own search interface and redirect my users to it?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that's a great question. So with our JavaScript search UI framework, it is fairly easy to either use that framework to build directly into your own application or your own website Kaleo capabilities. You can go directly after the Kaleo APIs, so it may be a little bit lighter if you don't need the entire framework. And for those who wanna run a search page very quickly, we can also host that directly in the cloud for you, directly tied to the index. So all of those options are available and fairly easy to use.
Great, and we do have a couple of more. How can the Kaleo platform determine if a previous query was successfully removed by a piece of content and thus deem it a suggested response for future queries?
So I think the question is how can we leverage this query in machine learning, I guess. So a query is part of the search journey, and we have various techniques to understand where search journey starts, where it ends, and we also have signals to tell us if it's a successful outcome or not. If you remember a little bit earlier on the call, I said it's possible to log custom events such as a buy event or a case deflection event or a registration event. So it's fairly easy to just filter out those journeys that don't end with this event when we're building machine learning models for future relevance.
Okay, and the last one that we have time for, how much enterprise information architecture structure is normal for a Kaleo customer to have in order to really leverage the search technology? I'm thinking of things like master data models or enterprise metadata and taxonomies.
Right, right. So that's a great question. The short answer, it depends, but the longer answer is there's a lot that is now being done automatically with machine learning in terms of thesaurus, auto thesaurus, for instance. If you remember the Logitech example, there's a lot of fuzziness that can be kind of sorted out in great relevance. But then you may want to just exclude content from the system, or you want to consolidate content together through metadata that may not be joined naturally. So this is done fairly easily at the admin level when we create those data sources. Our professional services are also the best in the world at going after those extreme situations, if any. And more and more, we see our system integrators and partners playing a role in that. So with our Open Connector API, with our Push API, that would be my long answer.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Laurent. I really appreciate you taking the time today, and that concludes today's presentation. So on behalf of Laurent, I'd like to thank you for attending our webinar, Takeaways from the Gartner Magic Quadrant for Insight Engines, How AI-Powered Search Can Impact Your Business. Thanks again, and have a great day, everybody.
Bye-bye.